Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Adi. I'm Didi Shlicha. I think you all already know me. Thanks for joining us this beautiful morning. We're gonna be on a virtual live tour from Tel Aviv, from Ben-Gurion's house. We have with us Yoni Elat. Yoni is our tour guide for today from Ben-Gurion. You will see him on your screen right now. For those of you who joined our last event with Ronita Sherry and Gera Sandler, the both cast of the Unorthodox, we mentioned they both used to work in the Yiddish theater in Israel. Yoni is a friend of them, used to work there as well, is actually an actress, but now he's gonna be our tour guide. So Yoni, they are all yours. Just another thing that if you have questions during the tour, you're more than welcome to write them in the chat. We will unmute you and allow you to ask your question during the tour. So feel free, it's for you. Yoni, go ahead. Just a second, I'm gonna unmute you. Sorry. Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so hi, it's 6 p.m. here in Israel. It's like the afternoon, as you can see, but good morning to you. Actually, you mentioned that I'm an actor and a singer, so there's a song I always wanted to sing from musical, and now I have the reason. You might know that song, Good Morning Baltimore. Every day is like an open door, etc., etc. Every night is a fantasy. Every sounds like a symphony. All right.
We love it. We love it.
Okay. So yeah, that's of course from the musical Hairspray, which was actually quite a big success here in Tel Aviv, but it just like stopped because of the Corona time. So yeah, now it's not on stage, but it was like for 1 year or something, like quite a big success here in Tel Aviv. So my name is Yoni, and now I'm going to show you exactly where I'm standing. This is the Ben-Gurion's Boulevard in Tel Aviv, in the center of Tel Aviv. It's a very central neighborhood, the Old North. It's called the name of the neighborhood. You can see this. You may see the beach, the sea, just there. And we are here. The boulevard is called Ben-Gurion Boulevard since 1973, when Ben-Gurion passed away. And here was his private house, Ben-Gurion's house. So this is a bit of like the yard. And you can see it's quite a big house now. It wasn't like that when it was built. The house was built in 31. The city of Tel Aviv was very young. It was the northern part of the city of Tel Aviv. This neighborhood was like workers' neighborhood. So each family got like a very small yard. They got it from the Keren Kayemet. That's why this boulevard, before it was named after Ben-Gurion, as it is now since 73, this boulevard was called Keren Kayemet, who bought this neighborhood and built, gave the opportunity for those workers and Ben-Gurion's family among them to build their own house here. So it was quite small house, but then in 46 the house got bigger because they knew, this is going to be the house of the first prime minister of the state of Israel. So let's go inside. All right, we're getting inside the house of Ben-Gurion. This is the living room. And I will just say that you can see that in this part, the floor is green. And this floor is like original from 31. The house was only with like one floor, 2 rooms, and this was the original size of the whole house. But then, as I said, in 46, it got bigger to the size that it is now. When Ben-Gurion moved here, he was already in his 40s. This is the first house he ever bought. This is a picture of his wife, Paula. Ben-Gurion, the whole financial situation of the Ben-Gurion's family was, I would say, like all over his life was quite bad, especially when they built this house, which cost like fortune for that time. It was like 35 lirot, like the coin of Palestine that days, at the 30s. It was a fortune for the family. And they moved here already with their 3 kids. We can see them here: Geula, the elder, Renana, and Amos. They were already quite like in the age, as you can see here in the picture. And Ben-Gurion was traveling a lot all over the world, to Europe, to the States, like trying to give the whole idea of Zionism, of a Jewish country here in Palestine, at that time. And because the family didn't have money, it's hard to imagine that nowadays. So Paula and the 3 kids, they were living just in one room, and the other room they were subletting for a student or a tourist, just like to save some more money to the family. Ben-Gurion gave this house after his death. It was like in his will to give this house to the state of Israel. So especially at this, the whole thing, all the things here are originally as they were at his life, but especially in this room, it's a bit like a museum. You can see all these souvenirs here that he got from all over the world. Things from Jewish communities from the world, or Jewish leaders or others. So they did that after he passed away, just to show all those gifts and souvenirs. But the furnitures and all the other stuff are just like original as they were in his life. You won't believe it, but on this goose egg is written the whole Haggadah of Pesach, like in a very tiny letters. All right, yeah, you are Americans, so you might be interested in this statue that he got of Abraham Lincoln. So the family moved here in 31, and Ben-Gurion, you may say he died in this house, though it was like in a hospital, but As you may know, Ben-Gurion had another house in the Negev, in the desert, like in the south of Israel, in kibbutz Sde Boker. Ben-Gurion was obviously the first prime minister of this country, of the country of Israel, from 48, and he's the one that, of course, we will talk about that later in the up floor, the one who declared, read the declaration of the independence, the declaration of the birth of the state of Israel. But in 53, he quit from his job and moved to the Negev. One of his visions of the future of this country was that Israel must develop and build the desert, and he wanted to give his own example. How should it be, and that people should move here. Actually, you can see here a picture of the Negev. And from 53 to 56, he lived there. And then he's coming back to his position as Minister of Defense and then as Prime Minister again. Most of the time when he was the Prime Minister, he was also the Minister of Defense. And then when he retired at 63, he is like back and forth, the Negev and Tel Aviv. So you may say that in this house, he was living most of his life. For like more than 40 years. All right, we're going now to another room. This room is called Renana's room. Renana is the youngest daughter of the Ben-Gurion's family. But as I said, when the family is moving here, the kids are not that young. And it's not, most of the years, it wasn't like a house of like kids. So this room is, still has this name, Renana's room, but since the early 50s, there are no kids in this house. But what is more important about this house is what happened here, as you can see here, in the Sinai War in 53. I will just say that Ben-Gurion wasn't a healthy man since his childhood. As you can see here in his picture, he was born with a really large head. He suffered from headache and migraines all his life, also problems with the bones, with his back. And when the Sinai War, it's like the second war of the state of Israel after the independent war in 48, 49. So in 56, when the war just started, he got really, really sick. And then he can't even go to the shelter that he had here in the yard, and not to go upstairs to his bedroom. So as you can see here, behind this window, you can see like a provisoric, an improvised wall that was built here just like to protect the Prime Minister of Israel, who was like lying in this very, very bed, in his daughter's bed, and like controlling the first days of the war from this room. So you can imagine like generals from the IDF, like Moshe Dayan, if you remember, or others coming here and talking to the Prime Minister as he's lying here on this bed. And maybe this is the reason that Ben-Gurion himself, and then later like the Ben-Gurion's house, like the museum, dedicate that room to souvenirs that had something with the defense of Israel and with the IDF. I can show you here some of them. Adi, maybe you can read me the questions that people were asking already? Or should we do it later? Yes.
Leslie asked, who made the bust of Ben-Gurion?
It's just like his name is Avraham Chaba, just like you know, you say like Sofer Stam, just like no one, nothing to write home about, all right? Like no one known or like special, just a gift, a special gift that he got and kept.
Okay, great. And Robert mentioned that at Sde Boker he had 1,800 books. Is there a library here?
Well, I don't want to spoil this tour, all right? We'll go, as you can see, you have, well, I would say like some books in this room, but I will just say it's just like a part of the library of Ben-Gurion. And when we will go upstairs, I'll tell you exactly how many books he had in Sde Boker and how many books he had in this house.
Great. So this
Any more questions?
No, for now.
All right. So I'm going to take you now to, you can see here like Ben-Gurion really, really young with some hair on his head. And we are going now to the kitchen of Paula Ben-Gurion, all right, and David Ben-Gurion, but yeah, this is a small, well, the house is not, as I said before, is not a small house, but you can see people are just, it's not just an image of saying about Ben-Gurion that he was very modest, very Spartanic, and he was, as you can see here, just like a simple table, transistor, newspaper, telephone, and this is the kitchen. There are not many places, I don't know if there is any other places in Tel Aviv or like in the state of Israel that you can see just like a kitchen that stayed as it was in the 50s, in the 60s. Maybe this is the place to speak a little bit about Paula Ben-Gurion, which was quite a character. They met, Paula and Ben-Gurion met in New York at 1915. Ben-Gurion made an aliyah, yeah, came to Eretz Israel, to Palestine at 1906. But then at World War I, the Ottomans, the Turkish, forced all the Zionists that were here already to go out of this country. So Ben-Gurion, through Alexandria, through Egypt, is going to the States, to New York. And there way he met Paula. Ben-Gurion was, maybe you can answer this question, how many languages do you think Ben-Gurion was speaking, like fluently? Just guess.
You can write your answer in the chat if you want.
Or in the chat, yeah, they can write in the chat, yeah, that's what I meant.
So
more
we
than
have
5, more than
7, 12.
Well, all right, I'll tell you now. So he was speaking fluently 11 languages. We will speak about the languages upstairs, but when he came to the States for the first time at 1915, English wasn't one of those languages. And he was really, as you could see already, he was really after books and knowledge. And he wanted to go to the library to read books in English. And that's how he met Paula, because she was the one that helped him. He asked if he can meet someone that can help him with translating those books. And he met Paula. Paula Ben-Gurion, she was born in Belarus, in Minsk, and moved with her family. Her family wasn't that Zionist, and they moved to America when she was 13. She was already she had a fiancé already, but she left him. Maybe she had a vision, just like her husband. She could see the future, and she could tell that this is going to be the prime minister of a country that wasn't born yet. She was a nurse, and she was taking care of Ben-Gurion all of his life. Well, she passed away 5 years before him. But just like a mother, just like I would say, like a Jewish mother, she was really involved with his diet and with his health. And she could call to Jerusalem, to say, like, don't let him go out without a sweater, make sure he had his tea. She was making him, maybe because she was American, maybe because she was a nurse, she made him, maybe some of you can read Hebrew, what she called kuchmuch, which was yogurt mixed with white cheese and a bit like some fruits and syrup, which like back in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 30s, here in Israel was something quite unique to eat, and she forced him to eat. She called that kuchmuch, and she forced him to eat that 3 times a day. Maybe because we are standing here in a kitchen, someone in the chat can tell, maybe you know what kind of an Israeli food, Israeli dish here in Israel, in some families, is named after Ben-Gurion. Anyone?
Until they will answer this or try to guess, Bruce asked if did they keep kosher?
Oh, well, many people ask us this question because of those 2 things. But Ben-Gurion wasn't like he wasn't like a religion people, of course, but he didn't kept anything that he went to synagogue. Well, of course, after he left Poland, he was born in a place, in a shtetl called Plonsk, next to Warsaw in Poland. But when he was like after Zionism and the Zionist movement, since he was 14, and he left the religion, and he went, after that he went to a synagogue only twice in his life. In the when Isak Danon, the greatest Israeli writer, passed away, he came to his levaya, yes, without yarmulke, without kippah. There was no mezuzah in this house before it became like a museum. So this thing is not because they kept like kosher. It's because they needed like, because this house served him as a prime minister, they needed like a big sink, so it's kind of like a double one, but has nothing with kosher food. So what were the answers for my questions?
We have
My
only
questions?
one answer, chicken.
No. Another one?
No, for now.
Anyway, I'll tell you. Maybe you've heard about ptitim, about the Israeli couscous, what they call now. So some families in Israel called it Orez Ben-Gurion, like Ben-Gurion's rice. And the reason is, in the early 50s, when the country was just born, and the country needed like when the state of Israel was born in 48, there were here 600,000 of Jews, and then after just like few years, 1 more million came here, like in like very short time. So they were living in what was called ma'abarot, like in tents, in like improvised houses, and they didn't have what to eat, like literally. So people got like coupons, they couldn't buy whatever they want. They had to get these coupons from the government to have, like, you could get only 1 egg per day, or like half bread per 2 days and stuff like that. And there was no rice here, but they got some like subsidia, like some discount from America to buy flour. And that's and Ben-Gurion decided that to make just like a small rice out of flour and water, just like a small pasta. And it's like, today it's a very common dish here in Israel. You eat it like everywhere. Adi, am I right or not?
Yes,
Titim.
yes, sure.
And that's why some families call it like Orez Ben-Gurion, Ben-Gurion's rice, because it's like pasta in the shape of rice. All right, we'll go now in the corridor. Here's a copy of the Declaration of the State of Israel with Ben-Gurion's sign here.
Is it the original one?
No, of course not. The original one, we'll talk about it like soon upstairs. The original one, there's a special museum of the place where Ben-Gurion declared this state, but now it's closed because it's like they're making like renovation. It's in Rothschild Boulevard, and it was, back then, it was the first museum of Tel Aviv. It was the house of Dizengoff, the first mayor of the city of Tel Aviv, and he gave his house, just like Ben-Gurion, he gave his house to the city of Tel Aviv. And at first, it was the first museum of Tel Aviv. There was the declaration. You can see some pictures here of Ben-Gurion. He was quite shorty guy. I'll tell you in centimeters. He was 1 meter 52 centimeters. And especially because we are right now in Baltimore, I'll show you some picture. Well, here's him with Albert Einstein. In 51, all right, 5 feet, okay. It's really short. When the first president of Israel, Chaim Weizmann, passed away, Ben-Gurion offered this job to Albert Einstein, who, of course, didn't accept that. I can see here, I can show you here pictures of American presidents. Yeah, you can see here Nixon. Eleanor Roosevelt herself was here. This picture was taken in this house. That's with her. Here is JFK. Churchill. etc. The goal. All right, we go now to the bedroom of Paula Ben-Gurion. Many people ask us, all right, what they weren't sleeping together. So they weren't sleeping together. Part of it is just because of the convention of that time. Well, my grandma and grandpa, well, they were sleeping in the same room, but in a separate beds. But it was really known that Ben-Gurion weren't sleeping much at night, just like 3-4 hours, reading a lot, writing a lot. And when he was prime minister, so of course it's like phone calls and meeting. So Mrs. Ben-Gurion wanted to have her own privacy, her own quiet. You can see how she put those pictures of her family under this glass on this desk. All right, I saw a few questions there. Adi, can you read it to me? And then we go upstairs.
Okay, great. So David Matlow is asking, when the Knesset moved to Jerusalem, where did
Yes.
David Ben-Gurion live in Jerusalem, and how often was he in this house in Tel Aviv while he was a prime minister?
Yeah, it's a great question. So of course, when he was prime minister, it wasn't the same house where Bibi Netanyahu is living right now in Balfour Street. It was a different house, but there was the prime minister's house in Jerusalem, of course. So he was coming here in the weekends. Only in the weekends.
Cool. We had another question about the picture, if Shoshana Cardin was there in the pictures.
Shoshana
Yeah,
Cardin, like in the pictures?
Yeah, that you showed us with David Ben-Gurion.
No, and I don't know, actually I don't know, unfortunately, who she was, but no.
Okay.
No.
Another, she's from Baltimore, apparently.
Okay. No, but no. You can see here like Golda Meir, or like the Queen of Belgium, the Queen of Netherlands, but no.
Okay, and the last question that we have is, did David Ben-Gurion ever visit Mitzpe Ramon from his house at Sde Boker?
Well, obviously, yeah. It's just like, it's from Sde Boker to Mitzpe Ramon, it's like 20 minutes. So I don't have like a special story about it, but I can only imagine that, yeah, he was traveling around the Negev, also there in Mitzpe Ramon, because it's very, very close to Sde Boker.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're ready to go upstairs. All right. And at first, this is the bedroom of Ben-Gurion. As I said before, very Spartanic, very modest. Only this simple bed, I'll show you in a second. The Holy Bible, radio, his board, and you can see like what kind of a bed it is. It's not a bed of a prime minister. Look how simple it is. It's just like a bed in a kibbutz. All right, it's like some wood and iron, and very simple matters. The bedroom of Ben-Gurion. But now we are getting inside the highlight of this house, and the main reason for him to give this house to the state of Israel. And this is, of course, the library. Let me just show you, all right? I hope you'll get it. And I can ask you now, how many books do you think are there here? Any guests? All right, something in between. It's like 20,000, more than 20,000. And as someone mentioned before, in Sde Boker, he had 5,000 more. So the private library of Ben-Gurion is with 25,000 books. And I said before he was speaking 11 languages. Well, obviously Yiddish was his mother tongue, and then Hebrew, which he learned. Yeah, I'll show you the Tanakh. Not only I'll show you the Tanakh, he has a collection here of Tanakh in a second. So Hebrew, which he was speaking from when he was already a kid, because he was studying, he was learning this language from his grandpa and his dad, not only as like Lushan Kodesh, yeah, as like reading it in the in synagogue, in praying, as a speaking language. And then it's Russian and Polish, English through Pola, German and French, Turkish. He started to study. He was an autodidact, okay? He didn't study any academic studying. He started to do that in Kushta, what was called back then in Istanbul, because of the Ottoman Empire, because of the Turkish. They were ruling here before the British. But then he had to stop that studying because of World War I. And then Spanish and also Old Greek and Latin. He was really after philosophy. He wanted to read Plato and Aristotle and other philosophers in the original language. So he actually studied Old Greek and Latin. In this library are many, many books of philosophy, history, but of course, history of the Jewish nation, Judaism, Zionism, geography, but of course, and also many things about like army and strategic stuff, because in this very room, between November 47 and May 48, between the decision of the UN to let the Zionists have their own country and the declaration, the day that the British left this country, Ben-Gurion understood that they're going to be a really, really like a big war, and not only like with small forces as it was before against the Arabs, but against armies of Syria, of Lebanon, of Jordan, of Egypt, all at one, are going to attack the new country. So in this library, he made a seminar, Keren Kayemet seminar, named after the boulevard I showed you before. And he got, like here, he called people who served in the British army, like Jewish people, in the Russian army, and they, well, had those plans how to survive, how to fight this independent war. And the seminar was in this library. And also the Declaration of the Independent was like the last words, the last marks of it were written in this very room, in this library. You asked about the Tanakh. So now it's unfortunately I don't have the key, so I'll show it to you behind the glass. But this is a whole collection of Sforim, of Tanakh. Well, now it's like catalog, and you can find all these books like in the list of the books in the internet. They did it after he passed away. Well, first it was like that, yeah, with those cards. But now you can find it in the internet. This is his desk. One other thing I can show you here, there's a very big section of books about the Far East cultures, as you can see here. All right, you have me? Yeah. As you can see here, Hinduism, Buddhism, yoga, which is also quite unique because like back in the 50s, the Far East was, especially like here in the Middle East, in the state of Israel, was literally far. But Ben-Gurion was very curious about those cultures because he was curious about Japan. How can it be that it was so fast that this country was rebuilt after World War II? How can it be that Korea in the late 50s was rebuilt after the war they had there in the 50s? And it brought him to yoga, to Buddhism, to Hinduism. And there's a very iconic picture of him. Some of you may know, standing like, all right, upside down on his head, yeah, in the beach. It has something with that, because he was really also into like, this culture of like, he went in the early 60s to Burma, was meditating there as the Prime Minister of Israel. And I said before that he had many problems in his back, in his bones, and a doctor that called Feldenkrais, Moshe Feldenkrais, is quite known around the world. He took care of him, and he said that like a serious guy like him in his late 60s, yeah, should do something like that he didn't do before, like something crazy, something funny. And he took him to the beach, and actually Ben-Gurion was standing on the, like upside down. It's like, it's not just like a PR picture. He did that very often. And there's also a video of Ben-Gurion in a vacation in the north of Israel, next to Tiberias, and he made a competition with Yudi Menuhin, if you know him, like a very famous Jewish musician, which was younger than Ben-Gurion, who will stand on his head longer. And who do you think won this competition? Well, obviously Ben-Gurion himself. All right, I couldn't read this question, Adi. We are like getting close to the end of this tour. Maybe you can read it to me?
Yes, of course. So Don asked here, how is children permitted to access his library and read any of these amazing collections?
כלומר, את יכולה לעזור לי פה בזה? איך ילדיו?
האם הם יכלו להיכנס, הילדים, לספרייה ולקרוא מהספרים?
Well, yeah, and now it's open to anyone. Well, in his life, it was, you can see picture, he has, of course, a ladder, because he couldn't get like the high shelves. but he knew exactly, like people are saying, he could call from Jerusalem and say like, all right, look at the third section at the second shelf, a book with like colored red color. Like he knew exactly about all the books. I can just guess or imagine that he didn't read all these books here. Some of them are just like encyclopedias and stuff, but it can really show you how he was into knowledge. Yeah, and he was, as I said, like autodidact. But the main reason he gave this house, as I said, to the country of Israel is this library. And he wanted people to come, and people can do that actually. You can't take books out of this library, like to borrow them, but you can come here if you research like stuff that Ben-Gurion was into, or like you're researching him, like Ben-Gurion himself, you can come to this library. As we know, nowadays, like libraries, well, you have the library of the University of Tel Aviv, you have the National Library in Jerusalem, and you can find most of this stuff in the old books in the internet. So the House of Ben-Gurion is trying to make here like events about books, about literature, about Bible or Zionism or Judaism or democracy here in this library, just like to bring people and young people. And we have many events here, like almost every week.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question about the children is, where are the children?
Well, they all passed away. You know, like the elder, we have contact with the grandchildren. The elder grandchildren, Yariv, is now 80 years old himself. The main grandchildren that we have contact with him is Moshe Ben Eliezer, the son of Geula, the elder daughter. Yeah, but they are coming here, and he has grandchildren and grandchildren, but all he himself passed away in age 87 in 1973. So the whole three children also passed away.
Okay, thank you. Rita mentioned here that there is a statue of Ben-Gurion standing on his head at Tel Aviv Beach.
That's true. It's a funny one. It's a funny one. Not far away. I show you the beach when we just started. It's just like not that far. It's like 2 minutes walking is the beach of Tel Aviv here, and next to this house there's a statue, a funny statue of him standing upside down. Yes.
Is there a picture of him when he was young at the house that you can show us?
No, unfortunately not. I showed you that the only picture when he's like a young guy downstairs, but he's like 20 something there. You can find some picture of him, not many, you know, it's like he was born in 86. So you can't find many pictures. You can't find at all like of him as a kid. You can see like just as a teenager in the group with a Zionist group just before they made Aliyah. They came to Eretz Israel, but you can't find many pictures of him younger. No.
Okay, thank you. And another comment is that his grandson was in Baltimore at the Jewish Film Festival 2 years ago. Thank you, Rita, for this information.
At the Jewish what?
Jewish Film Festival.
All right. Yeah. It might be because of try to find epilogue. It's called Ben-Gurion Epilogue. It won the Israeli Oscar for a docu film 2 years ago. So maybe he came with because of the screening. Yeah, it was epilogue. The name of the director is a friend of mine, Yariv Moser. He made like an amazing film because they find an interview that wasn't like they didn't know that is exist of Ben-Gurion speaking, just like 2 years before he passed away, that he made for the, I think, the British television. And most of this film is like this interview, and it won the Israeli Oscar for docu-film, and it's highly recommended, Epilogue. So it might be the reason that he came to this festival, maybe with this film.
Great. Thank you. Karen, do you want to take it over? You're on mute.
Sure. Yoni, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking your time and being on. I know it's 7 hours ahead for you. We truly, we appreciate you.
I'm after hours. Like
You're at, yeah, you're at, it's after hours for you. We truly, truly appreciate that. We appreciate you opening with a beautiful Baltimore song for us. That was great to hear. I do want to mention that if anybody goes to Israel, to please visit the Ben-Gurion house in person. Of course, I know it's a different experience, but this was lovely, and we truly appreciate it. So thank you very much for being on with us and taking your time and showing us around the house for a very meaningful tour, live and direct from Israel. We really absolutely appreciate that.
All right. It was all my pleasure. I thank you all. And לשנה הבאה בירושלים, as they said. לשנה הבאה בתל אביב. Okay.
שנה הבאה בתל אביב.
Yeah. תודה רבה לכם.
תודה.
Yoni.
Bye-bye.
For everybody else that's on the call, on the Zoom today, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. I do want to mention, as I always do, just give you a couple of heads up before we let everybody else know, that next Tuesday, I know we've had some incredible virtual tours. Next Tuesday, we're doing a little something that's a little bit more serious, but definitely something that's very important and very meaningful to us and to the community, to the Jewish people as a whole. We have Rabbi Carlos Tapiero. He's the Deputy Director General from Maccabi World Union. He will be discussing the BDS movement and talking about, is it an existential threat to the state of Israel? So it's going to be a glance at the BDS activities worldwide and their influence on delegitimization of the very existence of the state of Israel. So we feel that it's something, we know in the BZD, it's something that we deal with every day, something that we get questions about every day, something that we get emails about every day, something that we study about every day, look into about every day. And Carlos is very experienced about worldwide the BDS movement worldwide. And we're very, very excited to have him come and speak to us next Tuesday at 11 and really get a deeper look into the influence of the BDS movement around the world. I think it's a great lecture, Zoom lecture for all of us to be on. I think it's a great also opportunity to share with other people that we're having this. I think it's a great opportunity if you have college-age kids, because the BDS movement is very profound right now and very large, unfortunately, on college campuses. It's something that has really taken over many college campuses. So if you do have college-age kids and or grandkids, I would encourage to share this with college students to be on and or share with them the recording that we will, of course, record and have on our email later in the month. Adi is going to drop the link into the chat right now that you can go ahead and sign on to that and then share the link. Do you have it, Adi? You don't have it? Okay. So I can grab it real fast. It's really something that I think is vital to our community, to the Baltimore community as a whole, really to the Jewish, really to the Jewish community with everything that we've been we've been reading about and we've been studying, and everything that's going on right now with anti-Semitism. And this is really something that is unfortunately not going away as a lot of people thought it would go away, and it's not. So I'm going to drop this right here. Give me one sec. Here's the link. You can click on it. I'm going to unmute everybody, as I always do, just to say goodbyes and thank yous. And if you have any questions for us, I did unmute everybody, I think. If not, you can unmute yourselves and say hi to people you know and bye to people you don't know. Or
Thank you, Mazel Tov.
Thank you. Good morning, Sandy.
And what's your website? Because I came in late and I missed part of this, and I'd like to see the whole thing.
Oh, sure. So our website is bzdisrael.org, but we will cut down a little bit of the recording, just the beginning portions and the end portions of it, just so we miss this part of it. And it will be in the email that will come out in a couple of Thursdays from now, because we still have to put on the unorthodox one that was on Sunday. So it will be in the email. Our emails come out Thursday evenings generally, so catch it in one of those emails.
Wonderful. Thank you very
From
much.
who?
This was wonderful. The part that I saw was great. I couldn't
Whose
believe that
email is it?
library.
The email generally comes from me. It'll say Karen, but it'll also say Baltimore Zionist District. It usually comes out Thursdays at 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thursdays at 6.
Yeah, Thursdays at 6.
You can probably get that Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been great.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming and joining us. Have a great day.
This was
Thank
excellent.
you.
Excellent.
It was very good.
Thank you.
What was his email? Yoni's email.
I don't think he had an email. You can, the emails are.
I will write now with the email of Ben-Gurion house. It's not a private email of Yoni, it's for the Ben-Gurion's house. I'm going to write it down now for you.
Yes, Trudy, and well,
Oh, yeah.
Just in a sec.
third row.
Over here, yeah. Got it late, I guess.
No, I'm sure.
All right, let's get out of here.
It was very good, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Hi, Wolf. Judy.
Trudy.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.